Still beats the hell out of me. Just doesn't show up for work one day. Thought you guys would have turned up some clues by now, John.
Her apartment's all in order. Nothing to indicate anything's wrong. She didn't say anything to her landlord.
Well, you think she'd say something to me if she was just going to take off work for almost a month? Emma Spool was as regular as clockwork. I don't think she missed a day in the 7 years I've owned this dump. I just hope nothing serious happened to the old girl.
You mean like Norman Bates? Didn't he and Mrs. Spool work here together? And rumor has it that he's got a weakness for older women.
Well, miss, rumors and innuendo have caused that boy enough trouble. Just what's your interest, anyway?
I drove all the way from L.A. to see him.
What about? You another relative of somebody he killed?
I don't think that's really any business of yours, Sheriff.
The peace of this community is my business, young lady.
Then until I've broken some law, lay off the 3rd degree, huh?
Why can't you just leave the poor slob alone?
What are you guys, his fan club?
No. Oh, we just believe in giving people a second chance, lady. What Norman did was a long time ago, and he paid the price.
Depends on who you ask.
20 years in the bug house is paying the price, girlie. And anyway, the guy's okay now. When he worked here, he was always on time, and he did his job.
Gee, let's make him Employee of the Month.
Go ahead and talk smart, lady. But the guy just wants to be left alone in peace.
Look, Norman Bates has had enough garbage dumped on him. Just leave him
Afternoon, Sheriff.
alone.
Mr. Stadler.
What'll it be, Norman? Chicken fried steak is good today.
All right, and a glass of milk, please, and a couple of burgers to go.
I'm warning you, I don't want trouble.
Then let go of my arm, or I'll holler police brutality. Mind if I join you, Mr. Bates? Venable. Tracy Venable.
Thanks, Myrna. Coastal Reports?
I write for them sometimes. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
I mind.
Look, Mr. Bates.
Norman.
I'm doing an article on the insanity defense and the rehabilitation of mentally ill murderers. A lot of people think that they can't be rehabilitated and shouldn't be allowed back on the streets, that there shouldn't be an insanity defense. We always hear the objections of the victims and their relatives, but in a way, murderers who can't help themselves are victims too. Your point of view would be important to me.
This lady's bothering you, Norman. I'll have her leave.
Isn't your coffee break about over, Sheriff?
Anything else, Norman?
So what do you think?
About?
What we were just saying. I mean, Norman, you were incarcerated for 20 years.
22.
Right. For 22 years, you were locked away someplace. Now, the state says you're sane. You paid your debt. Then Lila Loomis starts to persecute you.
Because of what happened to her sister.
Yes. Marion Crane, right? Norman.
Right.
But that was 20 years ago.
22.
A long time for someone to harbor revenge. Aren't you the least bitter about what Lila Loomis tried to do to you?
I understand. My cure couldn't cure the hurt I caused. My return to sanity didn't return the dead. There's no way to make up that loss. The past is never really past. It stays with me all the time. And no matter how hard I try, I can't really escape. It's always there, throbbing inside you, coloring your perceptions of the world and sometimes controlling them.
But that's my point, Norman. You aren't without conscience. You live with guilt and torment. You punish yourself all the time. Why does the rest of society have to? Take Mrs. Spool's disappearance. What if some well-meaning citizen got the idea that you had something to do with it? I'm not upsetting you, am I, Norman? All this talk about Mrs. Spool is only hypothetical.
What's yours, babe?
I was only using her as an example of how people might, given your past history, tend to automatically blame you for any murder in the area. You're not going, are you, Norman? I'd like to talk to you again.
Whoa. Now you're not going to stiff us, are you, Norman?
Excuse me, could you tell me, is there an inexpensive place to spend the night around here?